challenge you guys? Do you have any rules? Is it the Wild Wild West where like, hey, you guys do whatever you want, I don't care as long as you don't kill anyone? Or is there like some guidelines that you guys are putting in besides the main ones that you have to put in the Facebook groups?
How we saw it before is no longer working. And if we want this community to thrive, what value can we actually offer?
What's the hardest thing it is about owning a group? It's the slander because somebody doesn't get paid. Then it kind of turns on me like, well, you should be helping us to let people know that this person doesn't pay. But I'm like, that's your side of the story.
Yo, what's happening?
What? Let's go. We got a 2-for-1 special in the house.
Now,
say.
yeah, Carlos is on his way right now.
All right, let's do this real quick while waiting for Carlos. Let's change the name to Carlos and Chad so everybody knows both names. Can
Yeah.
we do that?
Let's see. Well, it's not going to pop up on the recording of this, so we're good. But this is Chad, everybody. This is not Carlos.
Welcome, guys. How are you?
What's going on, Chad?
When I do talk to Carlos, Chad is usually close by, so you
Yeah,
get
yeah.
with these guys.
So we're always rubbing shoulders. We're not too far apart from one another.
So you were there with Carlos when you guys started Sales Talk with Solar Pros Facebook group.
What's good,
right?
guys?
Oh, there he is. Carlos Villanueva.
Let's go. Are we already live, are we?
Oh,
We're
I'm
rocking.
late.
Damn,
Let's do
let's
this.
go. Let's go.
Yo, let's get you guys closer. Maybe put like your like shoulders together, put your arms around each other.
Oh,
I'm gonna get both your faces in the video.
Oh, is our faces not in the video, is it?
Yeah, I see like the half of your face, the half of Chad's face.
Oh,
So it's
Oh,
like,
really? So
no, it's all
you
good.
weren't kidding.
On the
You actually want
on the full screen.
I
in
thought
the-
it was
on
a
the
ploy to
screen.
get us just closer together.
yeah, that's the other part. But I guess Josh is correcting me. It doesn't matter, so forget about it. I'll just look at the wall when I'm talking to you guys.
For us, we've got like, it's like a landscape video, so we can see both of us. But
Yeah.
maybe for you guys, you can only see like a...
A thin strip portrait.
We're good.
Yeah.
We're rocking.
Oh.
No matter.
All right, cool. So just
Where
as
you
long as
guys-
both of our faces are in there.
Hit record.
There you go.
Where are you guys at right now?
Playa del Carmen, Mexico.
Ah, all right. That's one of my favorite places, right by Tulum.
Yeah, man.
Have you been down here, man?
Yeah, I mean, I have vacation there, and like those cenotes, this just got me calling my name. They're like, "Where are you leaving me? Come back to me." Cenote, I love those cenotes.
Yeah, man. Like in Australia, we've got this thing called OH&S, Occupational Health and Safety, where they've got barriers.
Yeah.
Yeah, like barriers around dangerous like cliffs and stuff. But none of that exists here, dude. Like none of it. Like you literally just fall off, die, and that's it. Like no one would even care.
Yeah, Josh was telling me a little bit about Australia before you guys got on. I learned a couple of things I had no idea about. It's crazy over there.
Yeah, like what? Like we don't have spiders everywhere. Kangaroos are not jumping around all over the streets.
No, nowhere. No spiders and no kangaroos anywhere in Australia.
Oh
no.
yeah, no kangaroos for sure.
Sure. Where in Playa, you guys?
We're about 3 minutes walk from Fifth, maybe even less, like 2 minutes.
Nice.
So yeah, that's the main
North,
street right there.
Oh yeah, Oceanside or City Side?
City side.
Nice one.
Yeah.
It's a good spot. How far up are you? Because Fifth, it just keeps going and they keep building new stuff. And every single time I come back, there's a new cool spot, even more up Fifth, away from all the ferries and the
Yeah, man. Do you know where Zara is?
Sure.
Yeah, literally like one street behind Zara, and then we're in
Nice.
a complex there.
Yeah. Playa is sweet. It gets expensive as hell though during the Christmas season, hey?
Yeah.
I was there in from December to January and they wanted like triple the rent. Like,
Yeah, man.
oh,
One
buddy.
thing we miss from like Colombia or South America is the the prices, man. You know?
Except the Airbnb prices have just been skyrocketing in Medellin as well.
Have they?
Yeah,
I got a
They're
deal
more
in
like
Medellin.
Miami prices now.
I got a deal in Medellin in coming up in May. It's going to be a good few months in Medellin for me the rest of the year.
Nice, man. What do you mean by a deal?
Just really good pricing. Obviously compared to Playa,
a
though.
deal on a property. Yeah, nice.
And we got Sonny in the
Sonny
house.
Rock in the house. What's up, Sonny?
Yeah, Sunny Rock, what's up?
How's it going, guys?
Awesome.
Appreciate you getting.
Hello.
I know it's a little bit later than normal, but all of us are troopers. We're all grinders. We said let's do it, right?
Exactly.
Where's everyone
Do
at?
it. Yeah, for some reason I thought we were on Pacific time already when you said last week, but the time change happens next Monday or this coming Monday.
Oh, okay, so
I didn't
we're
even
back
know
to,
that.
2 hours.
We're learning something already, right there. Carlos, what'd you say?
I said, because right now we're in Eastern time, so it's like a 3-hour difference. So when the time changes, does that mean it's only a 2-hour difference?
That's
Oh man, this is gonna get too
Well,
complicated.
Arizona right now, it's
I just saw
8
it.
o'clock
Like, confused
next
on everyone's face.
Say it again, Sonny.
I said, well, right now, Arizona, we're 1 hour ahead of California. But next week will be the same as
Yeah, so then
California.
it becomes 2 hours behind. Or
Okay.
in front.
All right. So while we're all talking real quick before we get into it, the reason why we're all on this podcast right now is because something we have all in similar, we all have in common is we have Facebook groups. So Carlos and Chad have Sales Talk with Solar Pros, and Sonny Rock has Solar Pros. I have Solar Objections, and Josh has what is it called? Which one you want to use?
What do you think it is, Joe?
Virtual
What do you
Solar
think?
Club.
That's the one.
There you go.
Let's
So
go.
thank you guys for doing this. This is a collaboration, show the industry. We're not competing with each other. We're all friends with each other. We always, we talk to each other, we hang out, and we have conversations. And so everybody gets to join our conversation this time. So I appreciate you guys being on here.
We're super
Oh, man,
excited.
pleasure to
Yeah,
be
you
here.
got it.
So, yeah, what's the hardest thing that you guys experience with running a Facebook group?
Oh, right off the bat. I want to get right into it, huh?
What
Hey.
about we do this? What about there is so much that we're going to talk about because it's such a niche little thing to have a solar Facebook group with more than 100 people.
Yeah.
So we can probably talk for hours. So because I know I will. So
Yeah.
before we dive into that, let's do a little intro to because people probably know Solar Pros, Sales Talk, Solar Objections, all the Facebook groups, but maybe they might not know the people behind them. So why don't we do a fun little thing to get to know everybody, to show the audience that we're people are just humans. Then we'll dive into the technical jargon of running a solar Facebook group in 2023, which I'm sure we're gonna spend for hours. So we have a little segment. What's our segment called again, Joe? I can't quite remember.
5 words or less, baby.
5 words or less. All right. So we're gonna do 5 questions. I guess we got the power duo, Chad and Carlos. So you guys gotta hit us with both the answers right off the bat. 5 questions, and it bleeds into industry-specific stuff, but it just lets the people that are watching know a bit about what you got going on. We'll start with the power duo. 5 words or less. 5 questions. If you could live anywhere, where would it be? 5 words or less.
If I could live anywhere, I mean, I'm
5
basically
words or less.
okay.
5 words or
Medellin,
less.
Nice.
Playa del Carmen, Barcelona.
Always going for multiple locations.
Playa del Carmen is 3 words, Chad.
Yeah,
Just make
yeah,
sure we're on
okay. That's 5 right there.
Medellin, Playa del Carmen, and what was the other one?
Barcelona, Spain.
Oh, nice one. Is
You don't
that-
have to
I'm
say
guessing.
Spain. We know what Barcelona is, so you got 5 words with Barcelona. Good job. Is that Carlos? Is that you too?
Nah, man, I feel like
Of course, they're
anywhere
attached to the hip.
I fucking feel like it. Maybe that was serious.
Okay. Well, there you go. I think that's
Alright.
generally my answer as well.
All right, Sonny, I gave you some time to think about it. 5 words or less.
Where I would live, if I could live anywhere. Well, I live in Arizona now, and I think the people here do it right, where they
You
live
were like
half the
20
year in
words.
Arizona and the other year somewhere else.
5 words or less.
Well, I'm going to say probably Siesta Keys, Florida.
Oh.
Wait, you went from you were defending Arizona, and then you went to Florida all of a sudden.
Well, I was going to say I'd live in two places. I think I think people do it right. But if you're going to nail me down to one, I want to live by the beach.
Yeah,
Love
the
it.
Keys in Florida. I haven't spent much time there, but I think it looks cool.
Yeah, I've never.
All right, second one up. Carlos, Chad, the Power Duo. What would be the title of a movie about your life?
Scarface. No. Okay. The movie. I haven't actually thought about this before at all.
I'd say I don't know. Let's call it upstat. So always like trying to move up.
Is it
Trying to
ascend?
level up.
I'll call it ups and downs.
You can't take mine.
Nice.
Mine is the solar coaster. So stay away from mine, okay?
That's a good one though. What about yourself, Sonny?
The climb.
The Climb. Good, love Miley Cyrus.
That's right.
Number 3, and we're getting into a bit more solar stuff now. Chad, Carlos, who's your biggest solar/life influence? Carlos, we already know it's Grant Cardone, so Chad, maybe you want to take this one.
I was gonna say myself, but yeah, we'll take it.
I want to thank me.
No, I mean I would actually have to agree as well with Grant Cardone. I mean, he's basically just been a big influence on our culture and our teachings as well, and our personal mindset as well. Anytime things have gotten tough, we always had 10x running through our veins as well. So we thought, okay, how can we turn this challenge into a great chapter in our story?
Love it.
Yeah.
Sonny, what do you reckon?
I've been lucky to work around a lot of people that are amazing leaders, and I've watched a lot of people build just dynasties. But if you're going to nail me down on one person who's the biggest influence in the solar industry, I would say the founder of Titan Solar Power, David Williamson. I've watched him grow a small business into a total powerhouse. It's been amazing.
Definitely a big name in the industry. Love it. All
100%.
right.
I want to real quick, just with that. If you think about all the solar pros out there who wish one day they can be what Dave Williamson was, the CEO of Titan, going to Phoenix Suns games, going smoking cigars, Nikes, just going anywhere you want with this attitude, not caring. That's the solar pros' wishes. That wish came true for him. So that's something we should all admire, and
Sure.
something we all could see in the solar industry. It happened already once, right? And happened many other times.
Yeah.
Absolutely. George, you want to go into the other 2 questions here?
Go for it. You got it.
All right, so I got an alarm going in the back here. Next question. Why are you in solar? Chad and Carlos.
Yeah, you want me to start?
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, it saved my life at one point in my life. So, this is back in 2016. I was dead broke.
So I know you want to give the whole story, but I'm sorry. The segment is called 5
Oh,
words
my,
or
okay,
less.
yeah, sorry.
Hold on, no, I liked it.
I was getting into the story. I was getting into it, but I was like, rules are rules.
We're in that segment. Yeah, it saved my life. That's it.
Okay. In brevity.
Oh, he was about to get into 2016. I was hoping I was going to get name dropped in that story. So.
That's why Josh was like, oh, let's keep it going. Let's go.
No, in brevity.
Saved your
In
life.
solar because of Carlos.
Nice one. What about
I'll say everybody wins.
everybody wins? That's great. It is a very, it's a very strange industry where everybody wins. It's not many industries like it.
Well, the
right.
utility loses a little, but they've been winning for a long time.
Yeah.
So it's time for the
Exactly.
winners, right?
That's true.
Fair enough. All right, here's a big one before we start getting into the fun Facebook groups and life stories and all that. So take 1 second longer if you'd like. But Carlos and Chad, ultimate solar career goal.
Dude, I just want to have a platform that helps me impact as many lives as possible. Yeah, that was probably 10 words. I think next time you're going to have this big banner that says 5 words or less.
We'll have it
We
after
will.
the editing. Josh will do it after the editing, right, Josh?
Exactly.
Well, in my case, like, create a community that knows how to make it, keep it, multiply it.
There you go.
I like it. Sonny, what do you think? Ultimate solar career goal?
Connecting people with good people.
That's
I like
see,
it.
I'm seeing a little bit of similarities here between all of us already.
Love it. Well, awesome. 5 words or less. Now people know you guys a bit, seeing a bit of your personality. Now let's talk Facebook groups. Well, I don't know. The solar online space is so segregated. What about we just jump into how you guys started yours? I mean, why don't we all? I'll start first. I started because of Joe. I saw his Facebook group, the community that was happening there, and I thought it was just phenomenal and it was a great way to add value. And Joe was my inspiration for starting my Facebook group. I definitely have the lowest count out of everyone here, budding little group for VSC. But Joe is my inspiration. Several years ago, I think I was in Bali, right when I first interacted with you, Joe. And I saw his webinars as well. That changed it for me as well. I'm like, yeah, that's the obvious way to do it. Webinar every single week, just add free value. So that's my Facebook group origin story. I think you guys have been in the game a bit longer than I have. So
I appreciate that. I didn't know that, Josh. Thank you. My inspiration is these guys, actually. Before I started my group, I was in Solar Pros. I'm still in. I'm in Sales Talk Solar Pros, and I was a contributor. I try to be engaged. I try to answer questions. I try to do posts that people want to engage in. Like I wanted to be part of that community. And over time, I learned what was engaging and what people were talking about, what people were interested in, and I became one of the top. Not, in my own egotistical head, one of the top people commenting in the group, and I learned how to become good at it. And after COVID hit, where I had to pivot into more virtual and getting more using social media more and training more, I started a Facebook group with all the stuff I learned from your guys' groups and what I did in those groups. So I appreciate you guys so much for being the pioneers and for me to be able to start my own group and learn from you guys.
No, we appreciate that.
You're welcome.
And we love
All
what
right,
you've
your
actually
turn.
created out of it as well, which is great.
Appreciate it. Now, your guys, tell us the stories. Who was, you know what? I don't even know. Who was first? Solar Pros or Sales Talk with Solar Pros? Which one was created first? Do you guys know? Because then the answer is the other one copied it. Oh, no. No.
You just gotta check the created date. You just gotta check the created date.
I don't know I started Solar Pros, which used to be called Sales Talk with Solar Pros. I don't know if you copied me or what, but
Oh.
I was part of Ryan Stuman's group. He's got Sales Talk for sales.
Yes.
Sales Talk for salespeople. But something like that. And I reached out to Ryan and I was like, hey man, do you care if I create a group specifically for solar people that are, solar sales professionals? I want to call it, Sales Talk for Solar Pros. And he's like, no, go for it. And that was in the fall of 2017. And then somewhere along the way, there was another group called Sales Talk with Solar Pros. So I just got rid of the Sales Talk and made it Solar Pros.
There we go.
See, I did not know that.
Interesting.
Yeah, man.
What's your side of the story, Carlos?
Man, I was actually in bed one day, and I was in like a solar slump, and I was paying all this money to this one mentor to help me sell solar, but he'd never sold solar in his life, so I paid him like $5,000. I did like a 2 or 3 week course, came out like knowing less than what I did going in. So I'm like, how the hell, like, there's no solar courses, there's literally nothing. And I was inside the Sales Talk with Sales Pros, which is Ryan Stuman's group as well. And I've always been big like with online audiences and all that sort of stuff. So I just thought, like, I didn't ask permission from anyone, but I'm just like, fuck it, I'm just going to create a group. I'm going to call it Sales Talk with Solar Pros, and that's going to help the algorithm, because when people are searching, they're going to find my group, and then I'm going to have people that I can talk to. Then I forgot about it for like 2 years. I came back, and it was like 5,000 people, and I'm like, oh shit, it's growing.
But you did actually reach out to Stuman as well, right? No. Okay, I thought you had.
No.
There you go.
So you were at
Controversy.
5,000. I think now it's like 12,000 or something like 13,000. So did you do anything to get that growing after 5,000?
Nah, man. Nah. Like even to this date, I could probably there's probably no more than 30 posts that I've done. I've commented every now
Yeah,
and then.
but I mean, our recent efforts have basically been influenced by you, Joe. Not kidding, So I mean, we saw the order, the structure. For us, it was a place where, we got information from it just as much as everyone else did, and that is initially what the purpose was for us as well. It was, hey, look, if I've got questions, go into the search feature, look for it, get the answers. And it served our purpose. And when we saw that you had a lot more structure, webinars and so forth, we thought, hey, what is it that we can actually offer that's going to be of value as well? And it just
I
I have
snowballed
the
from there.
official create dates.
What's that, Josh?
I have the official create dates, and it is close.
Is
It is
it?
way closer than I thought, actually. Solar Pros was the 30th of August, 2017, and Sales Talk Solar Pros, 28th of March, 2017.
Oh, there you go.
Only a few months apart.
Yeah.
Wait. So what year was the other one? Same year?
Both 2017.
So, Sonny Rock is the winner, everybody.
It's opposite. March Sales Talk with Solar
I think Carlos.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
Carlos?
He started his ghost group in March.
Ghost Group. Shots fired. But good minds think alike, obviously, only a few months apart.
Yeah.
But not only, but see, the thing is, not only they have the minds of starting a Facebook group, the same exact name, and they didn't even talk to each other or anything. Just like, let's do it. It's like, there's something to that too, right?
I think what it boils down to is the need for information. And now there's an abundance of information, but I think that's where all the great platforms came from, like YouTube, Facebook. It's people wanting to connect and people wanting to share information. So now we're at a place where we're still really early on in the solar industry. Like if you think about it, at 2% or 3% penetration, it's open for anyone to come in. Number one, help as many people as possible, but two, make a name for themselves. It's literally open. Anyone can come in right now.
Yeah.
Hey, Josh, I got one quick question I want to ask you before you jump in, if that's cool with you. So these Facebook groups, we're starting to see it. I just lost my train of thought. Sorry. Go ahead, Josh.
What I was going to say,
Way to go.
This cool part about this is that Josh is going to edit that part out, and I look cool, so it's all good.
keeping it in. We're keeping it in. Well, a little side tangent, just because I often don't get to speak to Australian solar guys that are also in the U.S. And so I'd just like to remind Americans how good they have it. Carlos, Chad, do you guys hear the new numbers about market penetration in Queensland this year?
Nah,
No.
we haven't.
76% in Brisbane, with a 90% market penetration goal by 2030.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Americans are having difficulties with single-digit
I can imagine.
competition.
I can imagine.
I'd just like to remind the Americans how good they have it compared to what we used to have to go
No,
through
it's
in
so
Australia.
true. It's so true. And yeah, I remember in 2020 when we were there, it was like, wow. It really opened our eyes to the potential. And at the time, people were saying, hey, California's saturated. And we're like, really? We're at this lookout, can't see any solar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I flew over Los Angeles and I couldn't see solar.
Yeah.
It's like, where is this?
I flew into Texas last month, and that's when I started seeing much more solar and concentrated in little patches of homes. But back then, I never saw anything, man. I think now it's really starting to pop off in certain areas.
Carlos, think back to 2016, right? Nexus days. Does it feel like then, now, or is the U.S. So I have my take on this, but I have not. There's not many Australians that are deep into the U.S. solar, so I don't know if I'm accurate here.
Yeah, there's hardly any. But yeah, it does, man. It feels like back then, 2016, it was you could go into we call them the honeypots areas where you would just clean up, man. It was so easy, and it's still like that. there's like so much land in the US that's just waiting to be taken over or held.
Oh, that's like California right now before Net Meeting 3.0 comes out. It's like you're gonna look back and like wish you were just doing everything you can to get as many deals closed and during that time because it's gonna completely change after that, right? So I used in Australia, people in Americans don't realize. Like, Sonny, have you know the history of solar in Australia at all?
Not at all.
It's,
No.
it's
There's a
insane.
whole
Zero. No, in fact, like in my group, like if anybody's outside the US, I don't even let them in. Like I don't, because I want my group to be very niche oriented for US. Like I'm sure Australians have a lot to contribute. Nothing against Australians, nothing against anybody from India, nothing against anybody from China. But we've got enough to deal with just here in the US. And I want it to be an exchange where a certain group of people can help a certain group of people. So I'm glad your group's global. My group is not.
And it's true, right? Because
No, yeah,
if
that's
you have
cool.
people that are adding value to things that don't apply to the U.S. market, it gets very, very confusing for people that that jump in.
Sure.
So I completely
Yeah,
understand that.
exactly.
Makes
Yeah.
sense. Joe, what
This
do you
is the
got?
thing. This is the thing, though, is Josh. I was the same way, Sonny. I was like, yeah, it's the American market. But what's cool, what I was learning from Josh, is that you can forecast the American market based on the things that you learn from the history of the Australian market. So there is things you can learn from it, even though they're totally different markets. And that's what the stuff I was getting from, and it was pretty interesting, the stuff I was learning from him.
You certainly can. I'm
Yeah,
sure
I'm
Carlos, you
starting
got
to
the same
get
experience,
much
right?
more attention. Yeah, man, I'm getting a lot of attention right now of Australians who are like they're abandoning ship, as in like they're now looking into the US after so long. Like I've just been telling them for so long, and then finally they're like, "Hey, I'm going to be flying into the US. Who should I talk to?" Or, "Hey, we want to sell remotely into the US. What's net metering?"
What's one to
Yeah,
one?
they're joining all these groups.
It's not actually 1-to-1, is it? The Australians trying to figure that out is probably hilarious. Yeah.
Oh man.
So,
See, I don't want that conversation.
so
I mean,
yeah,
if you don't know history, it's going to repeat itself, right?
there you go.
And if you know the industry, you can sort of map it out. But at the same time, I think the big thing for solar groups is if they're just trying to sell their product, right? Then if it's something that is completely nothing to do with the U.S. market, it's just wasted space. So I get it. I get both sides of the argument.
Yeah, and that's been my experience most of the time when you let somebody in from another country, they are there to push their battery, their inverter, their panel, and it's like that. Hey, do that on my LinkedIn. I don't care. But in Solar Pros, I want it to be, U.S. market specific, best practices, sales techniques, marketing ideas that are gonna, help your. I mean, we got a lot of people in the U.S. I don't know. That's just my group.
I,
That's all.
I
Yeah.
love that, and like let's add to that, right? Let's talk about what things do we allow in the groups and don't allow in the groups, and things that are like maybe not a big deal in other groups, but like no, not this group, right? Like so, Sonny just had some, and we can kind of go further into that. But Carlos, and Chad, what are some things you guys do? You have any rules? Is it the Wild Wild West where like, hey, you guys do whatever you want, I don't care as long as you don't kill anyone, or is there like some guidelines that you guys are putting in besides the main ones that you have to put in the Facebook groups?
Well, I mean, as far as we're concerned, the growth for us was unintentional. I mean, we just wanted that to be a forum, a place where people can ask any and every question. And, if they can get their answers, they're going to get their value from that community. And that's what it was for us as well. But then over time, what we saw was that it did become more, wild, wild west.
I love
right?
that you guys got the
It was
term.
getting
I was
crazy.
worried that you wouldn't get the term
yeah.
Wild Wild West. I was like, do they know what that?
No, but every time you've got marketers coming into any group or community, they've got the tendency to really push their own
spam.
agendas as well. Yeah. And so, for us, I guess, the trigger was when people actually started complaining. They're no longer seeing the value. And then, this is when we started to see, for example, yourself, Joe, you know, where you were providing different form of value, and that's when we thought, hey, look, how we saw it before is no longer working. And if we want this community to thrive, what value can we actually offer? And, you know, we've got, you know, really strong views of the community, the solar industry. We've seen the bad in Australia, and we certainly wouldn't want to see those things in the USA as well. You know, we really do care about salespeople because we have been salespeople, but we've grown our own sales teams as well. So we care. We don't want people to get screwed. There's a lot of bad things happening to salespeople. For example, non-payment. But then, you know, we also understand the challenges of like the owners of sales orgs as well. And so we thought, okay, look, why don't we start, you know, voicing this or start, you know, communicating with people and, you know, foster different types of conversations that other people are going to, you know, value. And obviously, you know, like with the marketing, you know, we started putting like VAs in place to, you know, start moderating the group, which wasn't actually a focus at all before.
So just to add to that, what are you doing with these VAs? That's very interesting. And I don't know if a lot of Facebook owners are using any VAs. Are you talking about just moderators that are in social? Or are you actually hiring virtual assistants to moderate the group?
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
they basically go in through like our own profiles, and there are eyes at, you know, in the back of our head when we're actually sleeping. But there's also like tools inside the Facebook group where, you know, you can set up moderation alerts for different words. You can set up, you know, like blacklists on words and all that sort of stuff. So you can, you know, when people are being reported too much, you can put them on lists where, you know, they have to go through some sort of approval. So like their job is literally just to go through that. And if they see like patterns, just to start booting. Or you know, modifying rules based on what people are asking for as well.
Wow. So,
Yeah.
Sonny, how many VAs do you have?
0. I will always have 0, baby.
So tell us.
'Cause we do it ourselves. I got a couple moderators that are great that really help me out, and they pick up the slack. And
Shout out
you
to
know,
Joshua
really,
Resnick. I know he's.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's awesome, and I met him through the group.
Yeah.
I mean, that's been the power of the group, is that I've met people like Joe. I don't really know Josh, but I mean, I've met Jake. I've met a lot of influencers in their own realm that are dominant in their own, you know, solar aspect, and it's been because of the group. And so, and a lot of people have, like, you know, I would have to say SolarCon was an idea that grew and blossomed within the groups, you know, and so it's been you know, fantastic to be a part of. And a lot of what I feel like I do is just kind of moderate from a 30,000 foot view. And you know, Carlos, your first thing was like, hey, what's the hardest thing it is about owning a group? And I'm not trying to jump ahead, but since we're kind of talking about like managing a group, is the slander, because somebody doesn't get paid or somebody did pay, you know, and then it kind of turns on me like, well, you should be helping us to let people know that this person doesn't pay. But I'm like, that's your side of the story.
Yeah, it's your business.
Unless I want to dive into it and start finding out the details, because I promise you, there is another side of the story. Rarely do you call up, you know, the person, yeah, I didn't pay him. Yeah, we screwed that guy. We screwed him good. No. It's like, no, he's mad because he didn't get paid because he didn't include an MPU and he didn't do this. And like, yeah, he's not getting paid. Like, but all of a sudden, like, I'm the judge, jury, and executioner. And it's like, we're just going to keep the group positive. So if you want to start your own group and have it be nothing but people who don't pay, and I think there is a group like that, but I want my group to be positive about the solar industry, how we help each other, how we're going to grow each other's businesses. Once in a while, if I know for a fact that there is a scoundrel, I'll let the post stay. But that's, you know, it's a big world. So
Yeah.
usually I pull those, but that's the hardest part, is managing the slander.
So
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I get messages all the time accusing me of siding with one guy or
Sure.
another guy. I'm like, yo, like I don't even know the story. Like now I don't even respond because it's it can really like affect your mental, especially if you're on the phones or on sales calls and stuff.
Oh my God.
Exactly.
Do you know how stressful it is to be a judge? And imagine your job was a judge, but then you didn't get paid to do it either. And on top of that, if you choose the wrong way, you get in trouble. People can be mad at you. You're
Yeah.
gonna lose.
Yeah, and I want to be fair. That's the thing is like, what if somebody was in another group just smearing my name and then they let it stay like, and I'm just like in the abstract going, gee, I guess it's true now. All these people think that, I guess, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't want that. So I just try to put myself in that person's shoes and encourage them. Hey, you want to talk smack? Do it on your own page. Blast it out there. That's fine. Just don't do it in the group.
This
I
is an
get-
amazing insight into the back end of what so many solar pros have been interacting for years. This conversation right here, I can pretty damn confidently say has never happened to this detail with this level of people that actually run all the big groups in the industry. This is amazing. I love
Well,
it.
I can tell you
It's
something else.
moral quandary, isn't it? It's amazing.
Well, I just want to be fair, and it's hard. Like you're in a, innocent until proven guilty. Like it's not that I don't believe them. I do believe them. Like man, dude, I know you're getting screwed, but I don't know their side of the story, and I'm sure there is one. Like, and like there has not been a bad player in that realm of not paying or screwing salesperson that justice has not been served. They don't last very long. Like, and it's the same way. Like if you're out in the world screwing over homeowners, like, hey, you can make a lot of money real fast, but it's not going to last long, guys. Like all of you guys, 2017, 2018, like obviously you're not scoundrels. Obviously, right? Like 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, you're still doing it. Like if you were a crappy person screwing people over, you wouldn't be on this phone call, like, or this podcast. You just couldn't, because it takes care of itself. And like, I just like, not that I'm like, hey, let karma deal with it, but it's just, I can't be the judge for everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, for us, that's not the purpose of our group. We know it happens, and when we see it, we delete it. Yeah.
With great power comes great responsibility, guys. We have to be the ones that help the community. Not just joking. So yeah, it's 100%, right? Like we can't have that all in one area, and part of it is knowing this, right? So like they get into group, half the battles knowing the rules of the group, because innocently people are going to post things and say things and not know what not to do. So my question is, do you guys have like your rules set out, and do you like put it like specific rules in there? Because I have rules in my group that's very like strict, almost like from if you're looking at it, it's like, what, why are these rules here? But it just makes the group better and easier to read through and more enjoyable, but it feels a little strict. Do you guys have any? I know I'm talking about the same thing, but this is like, to me, it's really a big part of a lot of people joining the Facebook groups. Do you have like any rules that are like we don't know about, or I should know about, like you can't do in your groups?
Well, I think any large or any community needs a set like a order to be able to operate and function, in a certain way. So as a leader of a group or a community or a team, you're always going to be the guy who cops the grunt when something goes wrong. It's like, oh, it's your fault because you made this rule, right? And I recently had to tighten up the rules. I actually had to post it on in the actual group. But a lot of people they actually welcomed it, because there was a lot of spammers. There was a lot of slandering, and it was actually started to get out of control. So I think it's like a healthy balance of order and control, as well as flexibility for people to do what they want to do.
So there was that transition, as I mentioned, for us, from forum to when people started complaining, and it was no longer a forum. It was more like a cesspool of just public shaming and negativity and toxicity. And so we thought, okay, well, if we are genuinely interested in a community, what are the mission, vision, values here? Where do we see this in about five years from now, 10 years from now. So, and there was actually, more thought put into it now that I'm actually verbalizing all of my thoughts as well, because, just recently with all the politics as well, there was, so much talk about free speech as well. So, who am I to actually step in there, moderate, tell people that they can talk about this and not talk about this? I'm a big proponent of free speech and freedom as well. But I also believe that, the conclusion that I came to is well, this is our lounge room. Who would we genuinely want in our lounge room? Okay, that share the same mission, vision, values that, so we can all learn from one another, grow from one another as well. And so, we've basically been making that transition. We've started our podcast as well. We've transitioned the branding, and there's a lot more thought now put into the actions that have been taken within that group.
I love that you said like a lounge, because that's how I look at it. I want to explain. It's like having a party. And are you going to go to a party that has nothing to do with you and go in there and be like, hey, I got something to sell. Anybody want to buy? Anybody? Like, it's going to be bad etiquette. You look like a weirdo. Like, you just don't do things like that, right? So treat it like a party. Treat it like you want.
You wouldn't, but some people do, man.
Yeah.
Like, you admit, and all of a sudden they're just like, how? Like they think like you created the group for them.
Yeah.
And it's like,
some people don't even read the rules. Like they tick, like they've read the rules, and they'll even message me and they'll say, "Hey man, can you please let me in?" I've responded to all the questions, and they'll be the first ones to actually post up an ad. I'll be like, "Oh my god, this guy didn't even read the rules." Boom.
How do you control marketers? So it's strange, right? Because you want value to be added, but at the same time, I know with my small little group, if a link is sent or posted, it's almost like I need to have a quick look at it to make sure it's legit.
Yes.
Whereas if it's just someone trying to sell a product that's not adding or replying to any comment, it's just straight up, here's a product, then you're more likely to just take it away. I'll have people that come in and do events or post a link, buy my leads. Those are obvious ones. Where's the line between adding value and marketing?
I think it comes down to the intention of the actual post. Like I had the same situation yesterday, man. I had with one of my rules that I put up was if you want to sell something, get in touch with the admin so they can vet it and make sure it's something that number one actually works and adds value. Because at the end of the day, if it doesn't work, it comes back to us. And then I responded to the guy. I said, if you're going to sell something, let me know. And so I think he thought like he just twisted that and just posted something up on the group that was clearly a lead magnet, which was like, hey, comment this if you want access to this, whatever. I won't mention what it is. But it was clearly a post to get leads, right? And then he could take them off the group and then be able to sell them something. So I think it just comes down to the intention. And it's like, you can tell, like when you read it and when you see the type of content, very, very easy to see the intention of what, whether someone's straight up trying to provide like value or whether it's just like, I want to generate leads for my own business.
Oh, it's so
the
true.
same person, I'm pretty sure, posted in our group, and then I gave them a warning, I banned them, and then they messaged me why I banned them after giving them a warning yesterday.
Yeah.
It's
It was probably
And so now it's becoming much more frequent as well.
It's so funny.
I don't let them in.
It's just like,
I know a few marketers on a personal level because of the group. I know that they don't rip people off. I know that if a solar company pays them for web development or lead generation, whatever, they're going to get a service, because a lot of times some of those, hey, I've been ripped off complaints, like I want to warn the whole solar industry, that conversation we had earlier, a marketing company is involved there. And so I just don't let them in. I formed another group, Solar Pros Job Board and Special Offers, for marketers, for job posting, because everybody's trying to grow their team. Everybody, every single person. I promise all three of you guys are. You're trying to hire people. Well, you do that somewhere else. Like in my group's very exclusive. So it is like I will actually look at their profile. Are they really in the solar business? Is there anything on their personal page that if I'm not even a friend, that says anything about solar. If no, they're not coming in. They're not. They can go join your groups.
This
Yeah.
is also
No,
this
that's
is also
fair.
one of the
And,
fastest.
and we need communities like that are very strongly vetted as well. I think it's
Yeah,
great.
it's great, but this is one of the fastest growing industries in the world, I would say, right? So you're gonna have a lot of people joining the industry, and they're not all gonna have solar on their profile. They're not gonna believe in say solar is the only thing. They're gonna test their waters. They're gonna be a referral. They're gonna start learning little things. So when I started solar, I wasn't a solar pro, but I Googled the shit out of it. I learned everything I could, and because I'm not going to join an industry and not know anything about it. So there's people wanting to learn. They're wanting to help us help others become solar homeowners, right? So
Yeah, but I don't want homeowners in my group, dude. I don't want them.
no, okay, but guess what? Half the people who are solar pros own their homes. So you can't say that, right? Like they're homeowners. So are you saying like once you buy
No,
your
I
home?
didn't say I don't want homeowners like prospects.
Mhm.
Like
Oh
prospects.
hell
Like,
no.
hey, I'm curious about the solar industry. Like, that's awesome. Like, this is not the group for you.
100%.
That's
Yeah.
my group.
Yeah, no,
And that's the
100%.
question on the list.
No,
So
I know.
I
I
get
like
it.
that.
Your
Bill.
guys' groups are the more the merrier, but I'm just not. We're just growing slow and steady with true solar professionals out there working for a team. They're brand new. Come on in. Come on in. You're day one. You're even hired. Come on in. Like, and they'll tell me that. Like, 'cause I do have a couple vetting questions. But if it's like I'm a homeowner, I want to get a good, how do I buy solar? Like, it's just not the group for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I might get confused.
Go ahead, Carlos.
Or marketers. Yeah, no way.
Yeah, I've actually.
But they do slip through. Some people are pretty crafty. Like, it's not like I swing at bat 1,000 at this stuff too. Every once in a while, I'll bet somebody in 2 weeks. I mean, some people are creating fake profiles. Like, these people are good at it. This is what they do. Is they infiltrate groups. Like, so they think here I am telling you how slick I am about how exclusive my group are. They figure it out. All of a sudden, like they're hurdling it because this is what they do.
They're real
And
crafty.
they'll create a profile 2 years ago to get into your group.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
My my mother is a part of my Facebook group, of course, follows and up all of it. She gets people direct messaging her about selling her solar leads. Obviously,
Sure.
because she's in the group. That's the only way they would have found her and done that. So they're going through, grabbing these and just
Your whole
just your entire members list. That's what they do.
yeah. I if I find out somebody's doing that, they're definitely gone. Like, absolutely. Boom.
I get messages as well, if that happens from members. They'll say, "Hey, by the way, this guy's trying to sell me something. This guy contacted me," and it's just they like it. And then Carlos, you also mentioned where you posted your rules. So we were just getting so many lead gen guys. I was constantly so I would stop giving warnings and I just posted, if anyone says anything about selling leads in an instant ban, I got like 30 comments saying thank you. This is exactly what we need.
Yeah.
So people want
Yeah,
that.
man.
Well, maybe we should do that as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we've recently
You
been
can,
enforcing that.
yeah, you can set up moderation alerts. So you can just put words in the moderation alerts. So if anyone says anything like leads or whatever word, it'll come up on a list, and you can just go through each one by one, and it'll say approve, reject, approve, reject.
Oh my God.
I just don't want the new guy, because I remember what it was like to be new in solar and going to your wife and going, "Hey, I need $5,000 for Facebook AdWords." And gee, do you really want to do that? That's a lot of money. Yeah, I do want to do that, blah, blah. And then you just get totally ripped off. So, like, I've got a few marketing companies and they don't post a lot. They add value. They know the gig. They do it well. But they've grown very successful businesses by giving free content, free value, free help, they don't go, "Here's a link, come to my group." They don't do that crap, because then I'll boot them. Like, you're not going to promote your group in my group.
That's
Like,
the
it's just
worst,
not going to happen.
isn't it? It's like they're literally trying to take people from your group and siphon.
Yeah. Oh, no, my group's different because we're solar marketing. Okay, cool. Bye.
Yeah.
Like, no, we do that here because everybody here is marketing. They're marketing something too. They're growing their business. But the marketing companies that are in my group, they bring a lot of value. They teach and they share. and they get a lot of business, never even asking for it. That's, they've done it right.
That's what I learned about Joe. He was doing his webinars, and it's just free value. And one thing I caught
Yeah.
on pretty quickly,
Joe's a great example of that.
right? The key indication for someone that's actually trying to add value is they're just very consistent in adding free value, right? And so Joe was doing that. I'm like, he's getting attention there. So I started webinars, and we're doing every single Wednesday for free for, what is it, like a year and a half, 2 years now, purely because I saw Joe doing it. And all the people that didn't really want to add value, they would never do that. Free value? Oh, no. And if they did, they do it for 2 weeks and then they're done. They want to keep going. So it's all about the free value ads.
Yeah.
100%. Part of that value, though, is the group, right? Like, yeah, the live streams are great, but I want it to be where people scroll down, they keep scrolling down and they keep enjoying it. And that's Sonny's point, right? And the more you're trying to sell what you're trying to do, the less value people are getting. So if you go to Solar Objections and you scroll down, you'll literally see objections, solar sales training, memes. And it's because I feel if you're going to have a Facebook group like you guys, you should be the leader in the group. And for me, a leader is a person who leads by example, right? So I'm going to go there and I'm going to post questions. I'm not going to go on there and be like, I know everything and I'm going to teach you guys how to be the best salesperson ever. No, I want to ask you a question. Hey guys, this is a question. I ran into a homeowner and they didn't let me in the house. How do you guys handle the situation? Now I can join the conversation with everybody else, have an engagement with the community, and then I can throw my own 2 cents into the conversation as opposed to me trying to tell everybody what to do. So did you guys try anything to make sure that there's engagement, trying to get the communities talking to each other and getting along? Anything specifically you do?
I'm taking notes here, by the way. Listen to the three masters.
I think a big part is members, when they post their questions, they want to get answers. Like, they want to make sure that they actually get the answer to their question.
Yeah.
So every now and then what I'll do is, I'll scroll through, and anyone who has an unanswered question, I'll just ask, hey, did you get the answer to your question? Like, I won't, even if I don't know the answer, I'll just say, hey, did you get the answer to your question? And then what that does is it just
bumps it up in the algorithm.
Bumps it back up. So then people start seeing it again, and all of a sudden people start, responding. That's one tactic that you can do, especially if you're getting a lot of comments and people are having unanswered questions. Because if someone has an unanswered question, it's unlikely that they will actually post up another question again.
Yeah, but just to go on to what Josh said, and if you don't actually enjoy giving free value, you're not going to continue it.
Yes.
So this was, a bit of soul searching for us as well. It's like, hey, what is it that we actually enjoy? Who are we? What do we want to do? Where do we see this community actually going? And there were aspects that we started to discover. We thought about it, we had never verbalized it. So we started writing these things down, and that's when, our podcast was actually born as well.
Yeah.
And so we thought, hey, we do actually want to have this sales talk with, for example, earlier today we spoke with, a guy that's operating a call center with 200 plus people from Colombia. And that is awesome. And we had an incredible level of, incredible amount of fun just having a chat to him. And, and this was a result of us actually being intentional, thinking about what is it that we actually enjoy, what's going to have longevity here, and how could we deliver this value?
Because I think there's a lot of value that comes in from members within the industry, but there's a lot of much more value that can also come in from other industries that have been around for much longer and have worked out how to do things that maybe within the solar industry it's still quite archaic or prehistoric.
Or non-existent.
Or non-existent as well.
Love that. How about you, Sonny?
I'm taking notes here. Truly am. What do you think?
Yeah, no. I still sell solar, so I'm always posting in my group, just real standard homeowner questions, scenarios, just to get the conversation started.
Nice.
I mean, because you face a lot of the same things, and people struggle with the same issues. And sometimes it's utility information, sometimes it's product information, but a lot of it's just, how do you engage more people? How do you win that conversation? How do you build trust? It's sales stuff. It's almost not even solar specifically. It's connecting with that prospect so they trust you, because they are going to spend a lot of money. And if it's done right, you want them telling their neighbor, their sister, or if they move, that you want them coming back to you. So just commenting on that, building that, reminding people that, and one thing I started doing lately is repeating it. Maybe every year posting the same question. Well, before I was like, oh no, I've already talked about that. Like, man, 1,000 people have joined since then. They might not even saw it. Maybe the 2,000 that were in the group at the time, they never even saw that to begin with. So, recycling good content that did get a lot of engagement.
That's
this
good.
This is a community, right? And these groups can help the solar industry community. And you guys see it. One bad representative can hurt one homeowner, can hurt a whole neighborhood. That could hurt a whole, it could really grow from one bad apple. So the more we can help the industry by showing what works, what's not a good thing idea, or not a good way to overcome that objection, or maybe don't do that, talk about that. That's going to help the whole industry and help our own sales selfishly also, right? So tell us about that, helping the community.
Absolutely.
You were telling about the community. Is that part of the reason why you started the group, to help?
Oh no, yeah, I started my group purely founded on the law of abundance, where that guy selling in Florida, putting panels on Florida, helped me in Arizona. That's just what I believe. Like, me helping you in Florida or Texas sell a system is going to put more glass on roof, and that's going to just make it easier for me somehow in Arizona. And that's what the theme of my group is the law of abundance. Just share it all. Because if there was one thing that I took, my major takeaway, I'm going to pump SolarCon here, is there's a lot of meat left on this bone, guys. And so we're going to talk about Titan and Freedom and these monster companies, blah, blah, blah. There is a lot of room for those. If you want to do that, if that's what you want to do, I don't want to do that. But if that's what you want to do, there is opportunity for that. Or you want to grow a big sales organization, you want to grow a big marketing company, there's room for 20 other companies that level. You're just saying, we're in the single digits of homeowners converting to solar compared to Australia. So truly we can share what we know and try to help that person, and know that if that's how we conduct ourselves, it will be, you can do it. Even if you are selfish, it will reward you.
And Carlos, your Facebook group is really connecting two sides of the world, right? A lot of people don't know anything about Australia. Now you're able to connect the world, as opposed to just being in the country, which a lot of the Facebook groups are for us. How does that affect the community, you think?
Well, I think it's globalization. So, for example, it's also giving opportunities to people in Australia where they've been successful in solar, they've built great businesses, or maybe they were just a salesperson that did really well, and they want to have the ability to join another community where they can learn and they can join a bigger pool. There's more fish in that sea. The sea is actually much bigger, and they don't have to be start from scratch, in Australia. They can literally just plug into another community and just start growing from there. And if the people inside that group are willing to help, then it's much better for that person. I've come across a lot of Aussies that weren't part of my network. I didn't know them at all, but I've met them through the group, and they tell me, hey man, I joined this group a couple of years back. I saw the opportunity in solar within the US. I saw how people were making a lot of money. I saw, the impact that people were making, and now I've actually used a lot of what I learned over the last few years just watching and just implementing, and now I'm in the solar industry in the US. So I'm like, oh damn, man, that's exactly the reason. When I started the group, it was because I didn't have any information. So I knew if I didn't have information, I knew there's other people out there that needed information as well. So I'm like, all right, let's just create something and see what happens. Like I had like no intention. I had no idea it was going to grow. Like I thought it was going to maybe stick to like 100, 200, maybe 1,000. Like Bill Murphy used to be an admin in the group, and we used to talk. He was like, "Do you reckon we can get this group to 1,000?" I'm like, "That should be the goal, 1,000." And then like we forgot about it for a long time on that group, and we came back and it was like more than 5,000. It was just nuts.
Who's the coolest connection or person you met or person that kind of helped you at all in your group? That if you could remember or think about?
No, I mean, I can say that. You know, I think it was maybe around January of 2020. We had plans to go to the 10X GrowthCon, and that was it. But we decided to run a live into the Facebook group, and we said, hey, you know, we're going to go and we're going to do, we're going to be in USA, and if you would like for us to come and visit and talk about, like, you know, what we're doing in Australia, let us know. And so we had a number of people actually reach out to us in different parts of USA, and we thought, wow, like, you know, we're actually quite surprised that there was, you know, demand for like what we had to say. And so we met some incredible people as well. And, you know, Zane was one of them. And like, you know, we spoke with, I think Roberto as well, Alex.
Yeah, we're still friends with all of them.
Yeah, we're still
now.
friends. Yeah. And so, and yeah, we made some great contacts who we know to now as well.
Hell yeah.
And we've got to do business with them.
So
Nice.
here's something that I've experienced. I'd love you guys' thoughts on it. I think that Facebook groups, if we just use like a general term, like the onlineization of solar, but Facebook groups has for some reason been the fundamental piece to that. I think it's changed the industry. I don't think many people before the Facebook groups, they'll hear that and be like, I don't really know. But I truly think it's changed the industry because probably the biggest solar companies and the best businesses, they probably met online in a Facebook group, maybe one of ours over the past few years.
Yeah.
Over the next 5-10 years, they'll where do we meet? They'll be on a podcast and we met in Solar Objections Phase. We met in Solar Pros. But there is something that's interesting. Never happened before. From back in the day when we're selling in Australia, there was no online groups. And so everything was very segregated. The information was segregated. Now, that's good for sometimes. That's bad sometimes because the training is, you know, centralized to a solar company. But there's one thing that's made it more challenging now to run a solar company. It's when a rep sees this guy posting on a Facebook group that he's got a $1.50 red line and it'll fill your calendar for days. And the solar company he's with right now doesn't have that red line, and now he thinks he's missing out. How, if we're running a solar company or people out there, how do you combat that, what I call shiny object syndrome, that red line shiny object syndrome, because everything's online now? Have you experienced that?
Yes, but to be honest, like we haven't actually interfered with that. I mean, why? Because, I mean, the successful companies are, you know, really successful in being able to put, you know, the right attraction model in place and getting the right team members on board. And they may have high red lines, but they're successful for reasons other than their red line. You know, the culture that they're actually creating.
Retention.
The retention. Who are their team members? So, you know, we know that there's much more to red lines. And in fact, like, you know, if anything, you know, I think the dangers of low red lines are just becoming much more apparent as well.
I think people are starting to catch on. But what about those new guys?
It comes down to
learned that yet?
Education as well. You know, I think it comes down to like the responsibility of a company that's inducting a new employee.
Yeah, but that education is becoming much more widely available as well through these Facebook groups. You're kind of learning from others. And it may be in the back of your mind, but then you get burnt once and you're like, okay, cool, that's the reason why John over there was saying it doesn't matter.
You can usually,
I honestly think
you can usually tell someone new in the solar industry if they ask about red lines. Usually that means they're just joining the solar industry. Go ahead, Carlos. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh no, I was going to say like this may be a little bit controversial, but I think, you know, anyone joining the solar industry needs to go through a bit of a slap, right? They need a slap. They need to get burnt once. that way they become much more grateful of the industry that they're actually in.
Yeah, it's a catalyst
Yeah.
It's
for growth.
It's like when your mom tells you not to touch the hot stove, you have to touch the hot stove. So you have to buy leads from the guy that DMs you once. You have to join someone's team who says they have a dumb low red line at least once to learn.
With no
I
profile
agree.
photo,
But yeah,
no profile
Yeah.
photo.
I'm right there with you.
Go ahead, Sonny. I don't mean to cutting you off. What do you think about the red line talk?
Well, not everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. You know, not everybody wants to build a sales organization. Not everybody wants to be an installer. And so for the red line hunters, like, you know, that's why I started a separate group, because everybody is growing a team. Everybody's trying, and like, I just want to get that nonsense out, because it's going to be constant and it's just going to be never ending. And I don't want my group to be a job board. But for EPCs, if they advertise a red line, like, God bless them. I mean, if they want to just be that company, like, I mean, I don't know. I just, that's like kind of like what Carlos was saying, like, you know, free market, let it kind of work out, as long as it doesn't get obnoxious. But because in the groups, people do talk. And even though I was just sitting here today, like, saying, hey, I shut down negativity, I shut down slander, all that stuff, it doesn't mean that the second they post it that I'm on it. And so it might be up there for 3, 4 hours, 6 hours a day. And if somebody's burning people, like, over nonsense or just blatant misleading people, like, they're going to do it in your group, my group, you know, it's going to be out.
Real
It's
life.
going to spread. Yeah. And then with the connections people make, like, if you have a bad reputation or a good reputation, it spreads, you know, it in these communities. So,
Spread fast as well.
yeah, red line hunters, like, it, I don't know, I think at this point people are really seeing through it, and it's going to get to the point here coming soon where, you know, success can actually be, especially here in Arizona, you know, solar's been going on for a long time. Success has actually ruined some smaller companies. They get too busy and they start fronting permits. They front the, you know, the labor to, you know, install the job, and they're not getting paid by the financer till it gets PO. And they're just fronting hundreds of thousands of dollars because they're being so successful selling, even doing good ethical business, but they collapse because they can't handle, you know, what they're doing. So there's a lot to learn, and some people do have to learn the hard way. I get that, but, you know, try to be like, it's a weird balance, because you don't want people to, you know, get slapped, but it's unavoidable too. You know, you can't
Yeah.
monitor everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What this is the big question. Why are Facebook groups where solar lives right now?
Well,
I think it's like one of the only platforms that exist. It's just in everyone's hand, man. Facebook. Like, I actually don't know any other platform where, like, you know, there's community. There's like what was the talking one? The voice one?
Clubhouse.
House. But it's too niche. Like, it's hard to find different groups.
Well-
I think, like, people just used to a Facebook group. Right time, right place.
Well, there's other like social media, right? There's TikTok and even Instagram and LinkedIn, but I think the difference with Facebook groups is the community aspect of it, where you're not just having one place where there's a bunch of audiences and just random people. It's more about a niche group together that people are actually connecting and knowing each other as a person and getting to know that person more and more. So you're building the relationship over time, as opposed to just getting a new audience with every single post. Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it builds leverage over time.
Yeah. What do you
I
think?
mean,
Sonny?
like, I wasn't using Facebook for years. It was social media. No, I wasn't using it as a social media platform. But it's this one thing now. that's Facebook now. Facebook groups. That's all I use it for. That's all I use it for.
Me too. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
the LinkedIn almost, right?
Yeah.
It's like the new LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, hey, during after, I don't know if it was 2020, 2021, when anywhere you went, people arguing about politics. Like, I wanted to get off social media, but what kept me involved was the group. Like, I would just go right to my group and stay in Solar Pros, but I would try to stay off the main feed because that was just people were arguing and, cussing each other out over their opinions.
Yeah.
So it can, it'll keep you gripped too. Like, now you own a group, you just put a chain around your ankle, baby.
100%. This is what I tell people. Getting a Facebook group is like having a baby. And Carlos and Chad let that baby go, and it grew up on its own. And all of a sudden, it was like older. Like, oh, look at you.
In the wild.
I
Came
should
back
take
and
care
like,
of
who are you?
you.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think of
Yeah,
like,
no, as a kid we had forgotten about, you know.
sometimes I think of like crazy things. Like, I wonder if anyone has met inside like my group and then gotten married, or all this like crazy
But
stuff.
yeah, we started actually thinking about these things, but that's when, we thought, hey, look, we're in this particular location. Who in our group is here at this location? And so we started meeting people as well that way. And that was really cool.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, when we came down to when we went to
Medellin.
Medellin, initially the first thing that I did was posted in the group, "Hey, I'm in Medellin. Who's down here? Who's selling solar?" And
that led to great
Yeah, man.
friendships.
like 15, like at one stage we had 15 guys or like around that number in our house, and we were all just selling solar in one day just because of like the connections that we had made to the group.
That's amazing.
Wow.
I mean, technically, there's three of us that probably wouldn't be here if it wasn't for all of us. So a little background between me and Carlos. 2015, 2016, I was running a little solar operation. Carlos starts crushing it on the campaign in Australia. He starts the group, the solar group, a year later. Joe gets inspired from the solar group to start Solar Objections. Then I see Solar Objections in COVID when I was in Bali, and I start VSC. That's fascinating. I love it.
Yeah.
It is.
That's
Awesome.
crazy.
There will be more. There will be more.
Yeah.
There's room for everybody. The law of abundance,
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah, I
There's
was on
so
that.
much opportunity.
And I think we've got some awesome, like we're in an awesome position as well because, we all started groups when it was almost non-existent. So we're like, number one, we're pioneers, but number two, we've got like, the responsibility to, lead by example. And, any one of us could literally like be destroyed any single day because we're on social media, we're putting ourselves out there, and if we're not doing the right thing, it'll come back and bite us in the butt. You know what I mean? So we've got like it can go two ways. It's happened to people. So yeah, I'm always grateful every single day.
So
I don't know if
Sonny-
I put myself in the same box as you three. I think you guys would probably be first generation solar Facebook groups and communities, and I'd probably be the second generation. So I don't want to put myself in the same box, but for you three, I think that's correct.
Well, speaking of that, Sonny, you said that there's gonna be a lot more Facebook groups. You said it with conviction, give some advice and tips to people out there. First of all, should they start a Facebook group? And if they should or shouldn't, give them some why afterwards.
Well, I mean, sure. If you want to do it, I mean, if it sounds cool, then go for it. But I think that if you're going to do it, then why are you doing it? Like for me, I had been in the solar industry at that point for 5-6 years. I just invited like all these people that I had worked for or worked with, in the last 5-6 years, and just asked them to include anybody that they knew in the solar industry as well. And so just kind of grew it from a grassroots level of just really, truly like trying to help other people in effort trying to help myself. Like, how do I sell more solar systems? And so I'll just puke everything I know, which again, I'm not the expert. I'm not the, all knowing, but I do have some experience. I'll share it and I'll try to craft posts where other people are willing to share what they know. And it will just, if it helps one person, then awesome. and it's just kind of grown from there. And so if somebody else has that same kind of idea in a different area, like marketing or whatever, like, hey, go for it. I mean, or installing, like there could be a whole other group just for solar installers, for people up on the roof actually having questions. Because I know that gets posted sometimes in my group and it does get answered, but there's a niche there just for the mechanics behind the whole thing. So there is room.
Carlos,
It's funny you say that, man. We're probably going to say the same
hey,
thing.
we are, aren't we? Crap solar?
Yeah. Crap solar,
Yeah. Okay, let me retract my statement that you guys are first generational owners. Carlos, try to explain for people that don't know what crap solar is.
Okay, so Crap Solar is a group in Australia that was created by guys on the roof, like
Solar
the
cutters.
actual installers, and I'm pretty sure they created that group to complain about
So
salespeople.
shaming, yeah,
Yeah,
and shaming bad
and
installation.
shaming bad installations.
Yeah, it is. Let's see what it's at now, because it's probably definitely the biggest solar group on Facebook.
That's
But
not
that
what
was,
Sonny meant, Josh. Okay, that's not what he meant.
that was
How many people are in that group right
when
now?
was that formed? Because that was around when we started in solar, Carlos. Surely that was that's put on
Yeah,
by
that was
shout out to
definitely
the
around.
solar
Yeah.
cutters guys. They've created an entire brand around just being quality installation. They're guys on the roof.
43,000.
43K, yeah. All it is, it's pictures of bad solar installs and people naming and shaming. It's been years and years and years. Yeah.
That's great.
Wow.
That's great. Well,
Every now and then, an American install will make it in there, and they'll be like, "Oh, these Americans, they don't know how to install solar."
I've seen some bad
Yeah.
ones out there, though. They're not wrong.
Yeah. I met the solar cutter boys at a Bright meeting, a little event that they threw on, and all they care about is naming and shaming bad installs and making sure the installs are high quality, which that hasn't really come to the US, right? There's not a lot of highlights on quality installs. Sales reps just look at it, but there's no technical thing. I wonder if it's going to start, opening up in the US, and the install crews and the guys on the roofs in the US are going to start jumping online and creating their own crap solars.
What I saw on social media with installers is that TikTok. There's one guy I know, Solar Goat. He's like a guy on the roof, and he's killing it on TikTok. And he's just going up there, just his daily stuff, showing his tools he's using, showing an install, showing a glass on the roof, and he's just getting thousands of views and hits every day. So I think a lot. It's called Solar Goat. He's gonna be at SolarCon too. But like, I think that's a niche. Like Instagram, TikTok to me is the same. The short videos is gonna be becoming more and more a huge thing going into the future.
Speaking of other platforms, I've sort of been thinking about it. I don't see a replacement for Facebook groups because every other platform is not community based, right? It's almost like people find the Facebook group and then they go search for people who also have a TikTok account, who also have an Instagram account. Is it going to remain?
Well, I mean, I've heard of Discord, but
Yeah.
I haven't dabbled. No, yeah.
Maybe
And you have to be
LinkedIn-
invited. You can't search, right?
Maybe LinkedIn is going to be because of the networking and community based. I think that's really what it is. So when Facebook first came out, I used to use it for like personal stuff. Hey, I'm at the library. Oh, I ate something today. And now it's like people. What I see on Facebook, not many people are like doing anything personal anymore. I don't see it much.
Business.
Maybe because all my friends are entrepreneurs on Facebook, but it's like all I see is business and networking and marketing and memes and giving value and interviews and podcasts. Like that's all I see on Facebook now. So it's become LinkedIn almost,
Yeah.
right? And that's where I see those Facebook groups really exploding because of the networking aspect of it, right?
When I tell my friends that I use Facebook for business, they have no idea what I'm talking about.
Especially
They'll
groups. They're like groups. What are you doing in a group?
Yeah, no idea. And some people ask me, how do I start a community? You have a bit of experience. I say, oh, first thing, start a Facebook group. And they will look at me dumbfounded and they'll think that's ridiculous. Why would I do that? Every single time. Yeah.
Well, speaking of starting a Facebook group, I know we keep talking about this, but this is what people want to hear about us talking about. So I want to just another question, but when I started my Facebook group, I learned from you guys. I know Sonny's going to be totally against me right now. I know that's totally fine. I learned from your guys' group. 'Cause I think both your guys' groups are. I think all three of you guys' Facebook groups are private. I believe all of them they're private.
Yeah.
Yeah, they in the beginning, my group was it was open, so it was like the members had to approve other people that were joining, and then once I got to like 5,000, I made it private.
Okay, then once you go private, you can't go back. Like you're
Oh, really?
yeah, like
Yeah.
once you're private, you're stuck. There's no
Okay.
going back anymore. So are you still happy with that decision? Are you happy that that's private? Because there's pros and cons, obviously,
Oh,
both. So
100%.
tell me the pros and cons and why you decided to do it, and are you happy with it?
Well, I think like Ryan Struman talks about this all the time, and like well, actually, I don't know if it's not private. Can you still like ask those security questions, the
You
surveys?
can.
when people-
The one thing
can?
with it is that if someone posts in your group or one of their friends posts in their group, other people don't see it on the personal feed, on their own personal feed. That's
Yeah.
the key difference.
Okay.
And you can't share.
So I was just going to say, it creates a safe space where you can ask questions, and you may not necessarily want people outside of that group to see it in their feed.
Just this 18,000 people in the group, right?
Yeah.
I remember when I was starting mine and I had about 500 members, and Joe told me, restart it. It's on private right now. Restart it and make it public. And he told me that, and I didn't listen to him. But then I look at Sales Talk with Solar Pros, and it's private. So I've been torn between the two.
Nah, but it got to 5,000 by not being private. So once it got to like around that 5,000, that's when we turned on the private, because it was like, okay, now it's now it looks a little bit more exclusive.
Yeah.
When people go to it, they're gonna have to join. But at the beginning, it was just literally like a free for all. Anyone could just join.
And as we've been talking, my group has just ticked over to 3,000. So I'm going through the
Boom.
Nice.
going through
Congrats.
the grind right now of trying to get it up to that 5,000 mark while still in private though. So I think I did mess up there. But I know Sonny's response here is going to be no. I want exclusivity. I don't care about. I
Yeah,
just want
yeah, I'm picky. I'm picky. I promise you, the people in my group are true solar pros. If you want to have a big group and half of them are actually doing what you're like are in solar, then that's awesome, man. Good for you. But that's not what I'm like. My group is for solar pros.
Yeah. Have you guys found?
I was just checking just to make sure I was still in your group, Sonny.
Have you,
Well, for now you are.
he's going to go back and go, who are these rapscallions? Immediately ban.
The Australians.
Have you guys found? So I've seen a Sales Talk with Solar Pros. I've seen a very clear, distinct change in the past 4 to 5 months, I would say. So there was a Sales Talk with Solar Pros, world renowned for one thing, and now there's not much of that one thing being drama anymore. What's been the change? Is it just more moderation, more focus on what the group is meant to be? What was the key thing there that you said, okay, enough's enough? And what specifically did you change, if any?
Oh, well, I mean, as I mentioned earlier, it was more that trigger, people complaining that it was no longer, serving its purpose, which for us was just a forum where, people can interact with one another, ask questions, have their questions answered, go and get value. But it just became this place where, marketers were posting and people were complaining about, being screwed. And so, that was more of a trigger for us, really, where we thought, okay, well, let's change the direction here. And I mentioned earlier as well about, soul searching and understanding, okay, well, if we are going to foster this community, what do we want to do with it? Where do we see it? Yeah,
Intentional.
exactly.
And
And
So what do? Do you monetize it?
well, I mean, look, we've got our courses, and at the same time, there we've got Joe back.
Yeah, I gotta change my camera. My camera died, so hopefully I'm not the bad quality.
crystal clear, crystal clear.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, just like other sales orgs, we were focused only on our sales as well. And so, it was extra effort being taken to, foster that community. And that's where, the soul searching really began as well. And when we shifted our model to, just remote only, that's when we, thought, okay, well, there may be other people who are actually seeking this, and so we had our course as well, and so it was monetized, but that wasn't really our sole focus. It was through that soul searching that we thought, okay, well, what else can we actually do?
You guys sell a course?
Yes.
And how much does it cost?
It depends who's buying it. No, it's $1,500, man.
And what is it?
Yes.
You teach people like how to sell virtually? Is that what
Correct.
Yeah.
and that's what you do, Josh?
Correct. Not
Well, how much does your course cost?
separate thing. Depends who buys it.
Yes, it's just a bit of
We
history.
don't sell courses. We just have a membership and tons of resources behind it.
And that's a monthly membership?
We have monthlies. We have different software that people use. It's sort of an open game what they want, whether it's a few bucks a month or they're buying advanced stuff.
And Joe,
Sounds like Sonny wants to
sell a course too.
No. Well, I'm a part of the Solar Academy, and they have monthly trainings and collaborations with. So there's definitely courses and labs and things
I think
like that.
Sonny's about to announce. By the way, everybody, I am now selling.
Solar Pros
No, I'm
course.
seeing it. I'm seeing the vision here.
Yeah, let's.
I think
Anyway.
there's a lot of fear as well about like monetization, selling courses, and all that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, it just comes down to like the intention, right? Like if we had created the group with the intention to actually sell a course, that didn't really have anything behind it, then I think when someone enters the community, it's like you're entering this community to know more about this particular course, right? But when the community is built from a place of value, and then if you're offering something on the back end, whether it's a course, whether it's your own solar company where you recruit into, or whatever it is that you do, if you have the right intention and if you come from a genuine place, people will buy it. Like you won't really need to do too much promotion because it comes down to that. We say free value, but you're providing a lot of content, you're providing a lot of value, and just teaching people for free.
Well, that product is going to be part of that value anyway.
Yeah.
So if they see you as being the authority, that alone is value.
And the thing is, Sonny, like if someone is looking for education, there are staples in the online space. There's the Solar Objections of the world. There's the Solar Pros of the world. And if you're consistently there and everything you've said over the past hour, people that are watching this, no one on God's green earth is going to think, that Sonny, he doesn't want to do right by people. They're going to listen to him. They're going to see the consistency and say, well, if he's got something, at least I know I can trust that that's good stuff. And so that consistency and that value and just constantly, I just want to do well for the industry. That's who should be putting out this type of stuff. Right? You don't want that random who jumps on, makes a course, invites 100 friends, and then starts pumping a $5,000, $10,000 course to people. Right? Courses are important.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, that word has been like
That's awesome.
these days.
Yeah.
No, I think courses actually help people because they do actually give kind of a blueprint on how to at least cut some corners. I mean, nobody's going to buy any course and just have all the answers, but they'll have some answers. You know what I mean? So, because if you talk to most influencers, like we've mentioned Ryan Stewman a few times, I bet you that guy spent $200,000, maybe $500,000 on coaching and courses, and just he's taking nuggets and then enhance them and build his own. But that's the way it is. I mean, so anybody who's interested in being successful, they're going to want to leapfrog some of the initial problems that, like you guys said, hey, I think a person should be slapped around a little bit if they enter the solar business or whatever. But if they can skip that part and get right to the part where they're, maybe selling 5-6 deals a month, like that's huge. That's huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also, if you have a Facebook group that's been around, right, and it's not just, how many Facebook groups are we seeing popping up? They have a few hundred members and then the admins just disappear. if you have a Facebook group that's been around, it's consistent, that people are constantly engaging in, it's also a very strong indication that that is as someone who's staying in the industry that cares about this. So for example, you see a Solar Pros that has 8,000 members. It's been around for years. It's a massive indication, and it's still active. It's still engaged. Massive indication that whoever is behind this it actually cares, right? What they're doing, and they're keeping this clean. So again,
it's even a tool, like you mentioned, Sonny, you know, how can I use the information in this group to help me sell more solar systems? I guarantee you, man, like if you show, like you're sitting in front of a customer and you've probably done this before, and they ask you, so how long are you planning to be in the industry? You show in the Facebook group, like, well, look, I've been running this since 2017. This is my, you know, commitment to members in the group and commitment to myself that I'm going to stick around. Because if I do something wrong, you can blow me up. You can jump in that group. You can blow me up to all my members. And that's what I want to avoid.
you know what I say to people when they ask for referrals? I say, put a comment in our Facebook group with thousands of people and see what people say. It's like, just go for it. See what people say. It's a very, very open forum, right?
I think a misconception for a lot of people with Facebook groups is that they believe it's only used for an information exchange. Like, I'll give you this information if you want to learn something, here's some exchange. But to me, it really comes down to building relationships. You're building your character. You're building your reputation, right? The more you can build who you are, the more people can know who you are, the more they can know they can trust you. And when people reach out to me, I don't know about you guys, they reach out to me because they feel like they can trust me and that I'm going to shoot them straight. And if there's some scammer out there, I'll let them know what I know. And I'll give them that's why they're reaching out to me. Not because I'm the most knowledgeable person in the world. And yeah, I got my skill set. I can teach people a thing or two, but they're reaching out to me consistently every day, pretty much. It's because they trust me and they feel like they know who I am. They know what kind of person I am. That's what I think these Facebook groups are really doing, right? I'm getting to know Josh better, not because I'm hanging out with him every day, but I see what he's saying on Facebook. I see how he's reacting to people. I see the knowledge he knows. And like, I want to get to know this person more. I want to hang out with them more. And that's what I think we're really building in these groups. What do you guys think about that?
A Facebook group is a reflection of the admin's personality, I guess. If it's consistent, right, Joe, if you're anything, you're consistent. People always see you there, and consistency is so closely correlated to truth that they're just always there. Joe's saying the same thing. He's helping people out for years and years and years and years. How much closer can you get to truth without actually knowing the truth? Like no one out there that's trying to scam people or do people wrong is creating a Facebook group that grows to 10, 20,000 people, and it's just all staying positive, all value. That doesn't exist. That's an immediate correlation to it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Is like your reputation spreads, man, good or bad.
Yeah.
And so everybody here, like, obviously has a good reputation. Like, and it's something that I think we're probably all interested in protecting, you know? And so, you know, because we do see the people that high flyers that come in the group, you know, and they tell you everything that they're going to do and they're already doing and blah, blah, blah. And then they're gone. They vanish.
Yep.
Like, it just, I've seen it a lot.
I'm going to build a 100-person sales team in 3 months. I'm going to do this. I'm going to create an awesome software.
Exactly.
And then they're gone in 1 month.
Seriously.
Yeah.
We're probably talking about the same guy.
Yeah.
There's a few of them. There's definitely
Big band from all of them. These groups definitely have their characters though. Like I can think of like 5 main characters in like my group right now where I just don't remove them because I think it creates a little bit of entertainment for everyone. But yeah, we probably all know those names.
Yeah.
But
I
how about that? Like, no matter how hard we try, there's so many people complaining, right? Because they look at how they're being affected and how they don't get to get their information out. How do you like deal with it? Like, not only emotionally, but like it's consistent, right? Like, it's gonna happen over and over again. People are complaining, even though you're doing everything you can to make sure it's a good community. How does that affect you guys? Like, and those bad commenters or people that maybe even have some rights to what they're saying, but it's like, you have no idea all the stuff I'm doing and I'm trying and you guys are just too much on me. How do you guys react to these kind of people in the groups?
I mean, if I'm going to be honest, I mean, generally, okay, I mean, because I'm just busy day to day, I ignore it. But when I take the time to actually read through these messages, I genuinely care. You know, I mean, these are like, because I can relate. If it's a sales pro who's complaining about something that I feel is, you know, they're right to complain about, I'll empathize and I'll have a chat to them. If it's a business owner, you know, and it's a genuine concern that they're complaining about as well, then I'll have a conversation. And that's when, you know, we've made that transition to more creating those relationships, as you mentioned, Joe, you know, because those conversations have led to, like, you know, deeper relationships with some of these people, and you've got greater trust with them as a result.
And I'm also grateful as well, because I'm in the position. It's like I get to be in the position where I get to hear, you know, these type of comments from people, and I've got that responsibility. So it's like, oh shit, I've got some responsibility here. I have to do good by this person, because it could affect an entire industry. Like we're really lucky, guys. Like we came in real early, and we control. Well, I won't say control, but we have access to such a large part of the audience and population of this industry. It's like just about being grateful.
Yeah.
No, and hey, it works. It works for me, because I know some people are nice to me because they don't want me to share my opinion if it's not. I mean, you know, not that anybody's given me anything or anything like that, but I just know sometimes people are a little extra nice to me because, you know, you do have some influence. You know, not that I would abuse it, but let's face it, we're all human beings, and if somebody was a real jerk to you, I mean, you might let 5,000, 8,000, 10,000 people know. I don't know.
That's so true. Like when
Yes.
people come at me, I don't know if you guys have the same experience. They come at me and they're like really strong, and they're, why would you remove that? Why? And I'm like, usually, I don't want to say always, but usually I try to be like understanding into perspective and like understand, like, okay, if they really felt like that, I can see why they're being mad. So then I try to use that, like, okay, guys, let's talk. And as soon as I'm like caring and I'm listening, and they switch it. All of a sudden, they're like, go from like, oh, thank you so much for listening. And no matter what I do,
sure.
they still can't be on there. They just care that I actually responded, and I really wanted to know what the situation is. And then they're happy, no matter what the end result is. You guys have the same experience?
Yeah, exactly that.
For sure.
You just got to get into agreement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm accessible. People message me. I message them back. You know, I try to be, you know, available. Like if they do have a concern or an idea or something they want to run by me. I mean, I love it when people are like, hey, do you care if I post this in the group? And it wasn't even a question. Like I wouldn't even have had a problem with it, but I think that's cool. Like they're just, you know, they're probably trying to get on my good side, but I'll just tell you it works. Like I think that's awesome.
Exactly.
You know, that they're just trying to be respectful, you know?
Yeah, it's like,
What did you
they
guys
have an amazing product, right? They could have an amazing tool, and if they just post it and spam and put a link, it actually hurts them. It doesn't make them look good, right?
Yeah.
But if they actually come to the admin, hey, I got an amazing product. I want to talk to you guys about it. I want to be able to, promote it in the group. That's a better way to start a relationship, a conversation in the group, as opposed to just spamming the group. All of a sudden, nobody they don't want to start a conversation, and you really just shot yourself in the foot, right?
What does your guys' inbox looks like? Because so, Joe, while your camera died, I told the boys we just ticked over at Virtual Solar Club's Facebook group to 3,000 people. My inbox is destroyed. You guys are at 10, 20,000 plus. What does your inbox must look like? Let's be crazy.
Yeah.
You know, well, I do receive.
Yeah, it's always full, man. Always full.
But see, this is the thing for me. I'm a natural salesperson. So when they're spamming me, I switch that shit around, and now I'm spamming them. I'm like, all right, you're a lead generate company. Okay, so we should be connecting. And then we start collaborating all of a sudden. I'm helping connecting them with something else. So even with these spammers, there's actually real people behind them who are actually caring, nice people who are just trying to make money. I don't look at people as like, oh, another scammer. I just try to find out what's behind that. But I'm not going to say there's a lot of bots and people are just not real people and it's fakes. I've actually deleted over 3,000 people in the group for just being pure spammers or not listening to the rules or being ghosts. How many people are just joining groups and then like disappearing? Like, why are you even doing that? So like, there's a lot of solutions going on, right?
Crazy. Yeah, you ban more people from your group than are in my group.
Well, that's one of the cons of a public group. It's like a company that hires a lot of people, then fires people really fast. That's why I feel like Solar Objection is like we have 300 to 400 people joining every single week. It's insane, right? But that means there's probably at least 10% of those people are bots or scammers I feel like our job is to get rid of that, the 10%, and to keep all the people who actually want to be in the group, that want to be engaging and make the group better.
So your group isn't private. Yours is open.
Public.
So
Still public.
So who has to accept or can someone join and they're automatically in the group?
They're automatically in the group, but then I verify if any issues come up, any posts. I have a lot of the moderation stuff comes up, and this group, and I make sure the community knows that they're part of the community. Right? Like if you see anybody has a spam or a bad thing to say, let me know. And then we get in the group, boom, boom. And then they don't just get a, oh, sorry, we're going to delete this. Like you do something like you're deleted, you're banned. Like
yeah, I do the same.
You're gone.
Boom, delete.
If they do it one time, they're going to do it again and again and again, I've noticed, right?
Yeah.
So that's
Solar
my
Objection has always been really positive
Absolutely.
too. I've never really, there's not been much drama in Solar Objections. It's always been really educational and people engaged.
Yeah, it's intentional, and that's part of the group too. And from the beginning, if there's any kind of drama, it's like Sonny said, there's I sort of say there's three sides to every story, right? There's yours, mine, and then the truth. So no matter what you say, I can't just believe you. And my wife gets mad at me all the time because she tells me a story. I'm like, yeah, and she's like, you don't believe me. No, that's not the point. There's another side that you have to understand to really understand the full story. That's just the way.
There's another perspective.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
and that's the thing. You don't want to make personal business into the court of public opinion. Like it's just, I don't think it's fair to the person that might not even be aware of the person that is attacking them. Like I just try to put myself in the other person's shoes. Like I'm not saying that it's not true. It very well could be. It probably most likely is true. But if that person doesn't even know it, like, and then what if he does come in and defend himself? Now you got this massive thread of F you, I did not, yes you did, blah blah blah. Like it's all their business. Like take it somewhere else. Like I want to keep my group positive because we're in sales and morale is everything. Like if it doesn't matter. Like if you don't have a smile on your face, you are not selling anything. So I want to keep it light. I want to keep it fun. In exchange, people helping each other, and let's sell some solar.
Speaking of keeping it light and fun, Josh, would you mind? Can we do one more segment before we go?
Let's make it happen. But I just want to add this conversation. I said it before. It's so niche and so awesome. I'm fascinated by it, and I think everyone watching has probably gotten some really cool insights on something they never even thought of before. What is it like to run a solar Facebook group? So I think this has been awesome. I really like it.
You guys got a few more minutes of fun?
Sure, yeah, man, let's roll. Let's do it.
Oh, okay. So the big difference from you guys with the Facebook groups is Carlos and Chad are from Australia, and Sonny is from the good old USA. So we have a little trivia for you guys. Whoever wins will be proclaimed the Solar Pulse podcast champion for this week.
All right.
You guys ready?
There better be a belt. I want to wear a belt.
Yeah. What's the rules? Do we just like say the answer, or do we like?
I'll explain what we've got going on here. So we have a little trivia, little countries trivia. I've had the wonderful privilege of living in Australia, so I've tried to come up with some questions, and then Joe's come up with some questions for the U.S. Now, what's going to happen is Sonny is going to answer the questions about Australia, and Carlos and Chad are going to come up with answers for the US. No Googling. I want to see your eyes going to screens and tapping, hands up. They're easy questions, but it's also Australian questions for Sonny and US questions for Chad and Carlos. So we'll see how you guys do. We got 5 each. What's the rules for Chad and Carlos though? Are we going to allow them to combine? They're already combined at the hip. Will we allow them to combine at
They
the break?
are count as one person. We've come together.
We're actually holding hands. You just can't see it.
Well, maybe he can answer the questions.
They were like this morning, like, should we wear the black shirt? No, we should wear the white shirt.
It's actually blue. It's actually
No,
blue.
this navy.
Oh, maybe.
All right.
All
All right, so I have 5 U.S. specific questions for the Chad Carlos duo, and then I have 5 Australian specific questions for Sonny. The first one we're going to start off with, it is one question. You're each going to get it, so there's not the first one to get it. It's just you answer the question or not. Joe's going to keep track. Best of 5 gets the belt. Is everyone coming to SolarCon? We'll give it out at SolarCon. How about that? All right, perfect. The first question is going to, let's say, Carlos. Who is the first president of the United States?
Abraham Lincoln.
I told you, Joe. I told you, Australians. Is just
You're
not gonna get it.
right. Okay.
All right. Well,
I say the same thing.
obviously, we're going to ask you a bit of a different question here, Sonny, and then Chad and Carlos get the opportunity to laugh at you. What's the capital of Australia?
Sydney? No.
We are 0 for 0. Should we give answers? The first president of the United States. Actually, I don't know. What is that?
Johnny?
George Washington.
There you go.
Oh, George.
Capital of
Washington.
Australia, boys. Say it on 3. 1, 2, 3. Canberra.
Canberra.
Yeah.
Canberra.
I love that question because Americans never get it.
Can I name another Australian city? No.
No. Let's throw the heat back on the Australian boys. What's the capital of the U.S.?
Washington,
Oh, we got
Hey.
it.
One on the board. Okay, we are 1-0.
California.
Interesting. All right. I mean, look, I think this is pretty simple, but I don't know Americans' understanding of Australia. But Sonny, Sydney is located in what state in Australia?
I have no idea.
I told you, it's all right.
Oof. We're doing rough here. What's the answer, boy?
The Outback. No. I don't know.
We were looking for New South Wales on that one.
Wait. Did Sonny say Outback Steakhouse? Is that what he said?
I'm hungry.
All right. For the Australian boys, what's the smallest state in the U.S.?
Is it one of the Dakotas?
Is that your final answer?
Well, that's not an answer.
No, wait. Wyoming?
Is that the final
Oh,
answer?
man. Wyoming is huge.
Is it Utah?
So we're 1-0.
No,
We're 1-0.
no.
All right. I mean, look, this next one might get you on the board here, Sonny. What continent is Australia on?
Australia.
Oh, he got it. Good stuff. Good
We
stuff.
are tied 1-1 with 2 more questions to go. The pressure is on.
Now,
What is the smallest continent? Oh, sorry.
Rhode
state.
Island.
oh,
Rhode
Oh,
Island.
right on.
I didn't know either. I also got this.
I would have said that.
I also got this next question wrong, guys. So I
This
don't
is
blame
for
you
Sonny.
if you get it wrong.
This question's for Sonny. No, not
No,
for
you-
Sonny, but because of Sonny. But go ahead.
Is it? This is for the Australian boys. Which state is the Grand Canyon in?
No. Nevada?
Incorrect.
Oh,
I said Nevada as well. It's Arizona. I feel like they changed the state of the Grand Canyon.
Arizona?
Oh, Arizona.
I think it's because everyone goes to Vegas
Arizona?
and then visits the Grand Canyon, so they think it's in Nevada. At least that's where my mind went. But
Sonny
all right,
knows.
Where was it?
Arizona.
Arizona.
Now Sonny's
I
fine.
said Arizona. He's like, no, it's not.
All right. So we're 1-1. So Sonny has a chance to start clawing back here or
This is it.
getting the lead. How many states are in Australia, Sonny?
4.
Oof. It's not the answer we were.
No?
No,
Just,
not the answer we were looking for, unfortunately.
How many are there?
Boys,
7.
Western Australia, Northern Australia, South Australia, Queensland,
Tazzy,
Victoria, New South Wales, Tasmania. How many is that?
I think it's 7, right?
7. Yeah, 7.
Okay, good. Oh, you almost
Guys, it
took my
makes me nervous.
I knew there weren't very many, but that's about it.
almost took my Australian card away there. All right, we're getting some fun ones now. So we're at 1-1.
This is it. The final round.
Ooh. Okay, for the Australia boys, how many lakes are in the Great Lakes?
I've never heard of the Great Lakes. 6.
Oh, so close.
Close.
Is that your final answer?
Oh, we just told them it's not right, so it has to be their final answer.
I was trying to help him out. But
This-
sorry, he said the answer.
All right, this last question, this could steal it. Sonny, in Australia, are there alligators, crocodiles, or both?
Rocks.
Sonny takes it.
Winner!
There
That
are
totally
no
surprised
alligators in
me.
Australia.
I thought Australia was definitely going to win this because Americans don't know
I
anything
remember
about
Crocodile Dundee.
I'm telling you, Joe thought that, I mean, just like all Americans, he thinks the whole world knows about America. I told you it was going to be difficult.
We like to think we know most things, but I think, there's a lot we don't know.
Good stuff. That was close, though. That was close. Nice one.
Yeah, well, you've given me something to research tonight, the Great Lakes.
Great Lakes.
So,
Yeah, now you got the
4, right?
yeah.
Oh, it's 4.
And that concludes our country's trivia. To wrap us up, Joe, do you want to take us home?
Man, thank you guys so much for doing this. This is so much fun. You know, these collaborations are awesome, and we can show the industry here. Where, like, even though we're in different groups, technically on Facebook, we're all part of the same community. And this is one of those conversations where people can see us all enjoying each other, learning from each other, talking to each other, networking as we always do. So thank you guys. Really appreciate you all for being on here. And I'm excited that all you guys are going to be at SolarCon. And Carlos is going to be speaking at SolarCon. Really excited.
Let's go, baby.
What should we expect from you guys? You guys are going to show up in your Armani clothes? And what should we expect? I'm just joking. What should we expect from you guys?
Well, Danny Pesci rocked up in a cape. I think we're waiting for someone to rock up naked. I think I'm going to fill that spot. That's why I'm training.
Is that why you're working out so much, Carlos?
Love it. Awesome.
Awesome, guys.
Well, thanks a
for
lot,
having us.
guys. You guys have a good night.
Have a
There
good
you
one,
go.
boys. Thanks,
Have a
everyone
good night.
watching. I hope
Take
you
care.
enjoyed. Have a good one. See you next time.
Peace.
Peace.
See you guys later.